Hello, everyone. Welcome to Vanita's podcast. I want to thank you all for joining us today. We have a really great show for you. We have very, very important information that's going to be shared by our mayor of Stratford, Dr. David Chess. And I just want to tell you a little bit about him. He is Dr. David Chess. He's a dedicated geriatrician, innovative entrepreneur, and a dynamic leader who has devoted 40 years to improving patient care and community well-being. A native of New York City, he has earned his medical degree from Creighton University, completed his residency at Albert Einstein School of Medicine, and served as chief resident of Bridgeport Hospital. In 1985, he established a private practice in Stratford, Connecticut, where he's lived for the past 4 decades. Okay, and in 1966, he founded Pri-Med, a multi-specialty medical practice, now part of Yale's Northeast Medical Group. Okay, beyond medicine, he has made significant contributions to the Stratford community. In 2019, he founded Stratford's Forward, a nonprofit organization that encourages collaboration and education and sustainable development. So, Mayor Chess, welcome to our show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. So I'd just like to start out with a couple of questions. It is so great to have you with us today, number one. And we're hoping to get a sense of how your first few months in office has been. We want our listeners to better understand your vision for Stratford. I know that when you were campaigning, you ran on strengthening the community ties, unlocking Stratford's potential through economic transformation and expanding opportunities for the town, aiming to make it more of a destination in Connecticut rather than an afterthought. You also talked about ideas of rethinking government and doing things differently. We know you have a lot up your sleeve and have been working hard. Let's maybe start with your goal to strengthen the community ties. Can you tell me a little bit about how you're working on that and the importance of it and what you hope and what your hope is for Stratford?
Sure. Thank you. So just to let you know, I love being mayor. It is a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of work, but it's a tremendous opportunity to really transform how we take care of each other. And so fundamentally for me, getting involved as a physician who went into medicine as a calling, who truly cares about the people and the people in our community, I looked at becoming mayor as an opportunity to create a foundation that can really lift us all, right? That's what community is supposed to do. So we started out with creating these community associations where we have 10 districts in town.
Okay.
And we're going to be meeting with each district. We'll meet in general every month and talk about issues important to that district. Talk about if there's going to be a development of housing or something coming in the area, or talk about the parks and the people being concerned maybe they're not being maintained the way they want them, or talk about speeding, whatever it is, talk about education. But give people a voice at the bottom, at the base level. That's where it needs to begin. And so we started this actually last week. We had our first one over in District 7. We had over 50 people come, and it was incredible. Lots of enthusiasm, and people genuinely appreciated having an opportunity to talk about what's going on, what's real in their lives, what matters. And the other offshoot of it is that I just don't want this to be a complaining situation. I want it to be a solution situation.
Exactly.
So people are talking about, hey, there's issues around with our parks. Well, or snow is out, and how do we? Well, as a town, we already have a massive budget, right? We can't afford to just hire more and more people. We need to take care of ourselves and our communities. So I want to see the formation of working groups in each community to help care for the community, to help care for that senior who can't get out and take care of their yard anymore,
Exactly.
but doesn't want to leave their home.
Exactly.
So that's what we're. And it was a great meeting because that's what was coming out of it. They wanted to know, how can they volunteer, how can they help, how can they participate. So that's what really makes me excited about this.
That's awesome. And, meetings like that are so important, especially when the community is involved and they're able to give their input, because everybody wants to be heard. They want you to hear what their ideas are and what their solutions are as well.
Right.
And if they don't have solutions, if that one particular person doesn't, maybe someone else in the crowd does.
Right.
It goes like, if you have a question, usually someone else in the audience have that same question.
Right.
Yep. Okay.
And-
Awesome.
And it's a matter of engaging, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Absolutely.
we have to stop having top-down management. We need to have bottom-up management, and this is a core to it. That's how you have democracy, and that's what we're trying to do: strengthen our democracy, strengthen the voices of people in our community. When I was running for office, I knocked on about 5,000 doors. I had thousands
Personally?
of conversations. Yeah,
Wow.
and so
That's a lot of doors.
yeah, every day I had a workout. But you learn a lot in the process, and you really get a sense of how disconnected people are from the town, from the government. And so we need to connect people, and that's what I'm hoping to do with this. And there's a whole bunch of pieces to the puzzle. That's one piece of the puzzle. The other piece of the puzzle that I'm working to put in place is to have a welcome person, a welcome manager, that you're new to the community. We go and knock on your door and say hello, and this is who we are. This is all the stuff we do in our town. And then we learn about you, and you say, you've got a kid with special needs. Well, we don't want to wait till September to begin getting him tested. Let's see if we can get him tested over the summer, so when it comes time for September, he's in the right place at the right time. Or let's say you have an interest in gardening. Well, let's get you connected to our garden club. So it's a way of really reaching out, engaging people, not waiting for 5 years for them to become part of the community, but make them part of the community as soon as we can. And then the other component of this that's really important to me is a volunteer coordinator, is someone to help create these groups in each community to do good, right? To help the community in terms of the gardening. We have a program we're putting in place where we're going to certify people in tree management and getting rid of invasives, and adopt a park group where you adopt a part of that park, and it's your job to clean it up, maintain it, do plantings, make it your own. And again, it becomes a source of pride. And so we're looking to bring in a volunteer coordinator to help organize that, get each of these seeds planted, right? It takes effort to set them up, and so we're looking to get that out there. Also, we have been providing through this organization, Stratford Volunteer Corps, mentors and tutors in our schools. Well, we want to again blow that out of the water. Our schools, our kids need as many touches as possible, so we want to accelerate that. So that's what the volunteer coordinator would be helping with.
Okay. In each neighborhood.
In each neighborhood.
In each district, I'm sorry.
In each district.
Oh, that's
right.
awesome.
Right.
That is awesome. And that will definitely bring the community together. And like the little welcome crew for the new, resident that moves in, That's me in my neighborhood. I've been in my neighborhood since '88. So whenever we have like somebody new in the neighborhood, I walk over with a sweet potato pie,
Oh,
welcome them to the neighborhood, make them feel comfortable.
that's great.
But what you're talking about is something way greater than that. So we need to take it to the next level and let them know what our community does and how they can get involved and invite them. And that's how you come together.
I think we need Vanitas in every neighborhood.
Oh, for the sweet potato pies?
Absolutely.
Okay, so as a former physician, you've mentioned that caring for people is your calling. You've built several innovative medical practices to help people gain access to higher quality health care with a focus on underserved communities. You clearly have a passion for innovation and helping people by attacking challenges from a variety of directions while bringing people together. I think that's awesome. In your new role as mayor, can you talk about how you're bringing innovative approaches to government and how you're focused on making government more transparent and accessible for residents and why you think that's important?
So fundamentally, I am worried about the world we live in. I'm worried about democracy. I'm worried about having the ability to speak our mind. Right? We live in crazy times right now, and so we need to figure out how to build transparent systems that engage people. So I talked about the community groups. That's one important piece, and I try to show up at those groups, so I get a lot of exposure that way. We have office hours, an hour to 2 hours every week, where the doors open, no invitation required to come on in, and whatever it is that you're concerned about, we talk about, and you can get a sense from me. I don't make up stuff. I tell it, I tell people the truth, whether it's what they want to hear or not. I tell them the truth that I know, and so. So that's a key component of that availability, that access. In our town council is from the 1950s. Someone having a presentation, they can't see what's going on. Well, we're building in monitors that'll come down from the ceiling that people can see exactly what the town council is seeing when there's presentations. And so we want to democratize it. And then next, actually this Saturday, we're having a ball for all. It's a town celebration, no invitation required. You could dress up, you could dress down.
That's my next question.
over at Baldwin Center, Saturday from 1 to 5. It's just an open house. There'll be food from about 10 different restaurants, kind of strutting their stuff.
Oh, okay. Like a little taste of Stratford
exactly.
where everybody have their little booths set up.
Right.
Free food. That should get everybody out.
Well, and there's bands, there's MJs, there's a sister city choir that's going to be there. We're going to have dancing, and it should really be a lot of fun. So we're really, again, how do you get people out? I didn't want a party invitation only. I wanted an open door. I wanted to engage everyone. I want people to know this is their town, and we're here for them.
Okay. And one of the ways you're doing that is by knocking on doors and having all the neighborhood contacts, the coordinators in every single district. That's pretty awesome. So why do you think government can or should be a place where community comes together to form strong bonds and help one another? And how can government play a role in addressing loneliness? Now, that's a big one. And enhancing people's health or quality of life.
Right.
I could talk a little bit about loneliness because I'm a Medicare representative, but you got the floor.
Well, you know how prevalent it is. This isn't an isolated thing.
No.
And we again, I saw it a lot when I was knocking on doors. I as a geriatrician who specializes in caring for older people, it's an epidemic. The isolation that's out there. If you look back historically, 100 years ago, we didn't live alone in our homes. We had extended families.
Yeah.
We had extended neighborhoods that just, and you didn't have to worry about daycare or nursing home. We took care of each other. Well, that's all dissolved.
Yes, it is.
And everyone is alone. So I'm hoping that by doing these many different steps, that doing the community groups, doing the knocking on new people doors in the community. I know we have a great group of people at Baldwin Center. Our social services here in town are just the people, and the organization is really a wonderful group of people that really do reach out and try to connect people and draw them in. They're working on new strategies to be able to engage those folks who are isolated in their homes, to engage with them. And that's a community-wide effort it's not one and done. It's not, you're not going to fix it with one trick.
Nope.
You're going to need to have a whole bag of tricks
Exactly.
to be able to connect people. And we hope that our volunteer corps can also help along these lines. So it is an ongoing effort and something that means a lot to me.
Yes. Just for my personal experience during COVID, as I said, I'm a Medicare representative. I actually called each one of I have over 200 Medicare clients. And what you talk about, the loneliness is unreal. And having someone come and knock on your door or just call you, they kept me on the phone for hours, because they needed somebody to talk to. And then, having these special groups go around and get involved, some of the people cannot get out and go to the Baldwin Center, or don't have family, or just lost loved ones. It's just, so many different things that they go through. And it's really important that we really, really take care of our elderly and advocate for seniors in every possible way. And I like that, you're doing that in so many different ways, whether they can get out or not, or you involving the community groups and everything. That's just so very important.
I just want to one of the things that we give as docs, we're constantly writing prescriptions, take this medicine, take that medicine. I'll tell you, one of the medicines that's most needed as you get older is a sense of purpose. That's medicine. And so working with people, trying to find how they can contribute, how they can, when all of us, when we wake up in the morning, we need to know why we're putting our shoes on. And so trying to, again, understand and create programs that engage people and draw them out and make them feel good about what they do. The volunteer program we have, we actually call it Give and Get, because when you're working with some of these kids in schools, just think about the kid in the back of the classroom, kind of hiding. No one doesn't want to answer questions. It goes under the radar, and not performing. Right? That kid may have 6-10 different things happening in their home.
Exactly.
Right? They need someone to be there for them and to say, "Hey, you're somebody. You can make it."
Exactly.
Well, we have in this town about 12,000, 13,000 retired people that have experience, that have love in their heart. We need to marry those individuals, that love, to those kids, and make something happen. So that's the vision, right?
Okay. All right. So moving on to a new topic. As listeners may know, state law requires all Connecticut towns and cities to complete a revaluation of property within their jurisdiction every 5 years.
Yep.
Okay. From my understanding, a decision was made in 2024 to delay that revaluation in Stratford by 1 year, resulting in its completion this past October. And now the final property assessments for the 2025 grand list are in, and the tax assessor's office recently mailed all property owners an assessment notice. What would you like the residents to know about the revaluation process?
Yeah, thanks for that question. That's going to be one of the hottest topics over the next few months here in town. Having the evaluation be a 6-year process means that the change in value even went up more than it would have if it was a 5-year process. So people in town, number one, residential homes saw over 80% rise in the value of their homes. 80%. Now there's some at 150, some at 60. Commercial only went up by 22%. So, and by state law, you can only have one mill rate for everyone. So now with the commercial going down, it means companies like Sikorsky will actually be paying less in taxes, and it means the residential will be paying more in taxes. And that's just the fact of the process. However, if your valuation went up 80%, doesn't mean you're paying 80% more in taxes. There's no correlation like that because we're going to decrease the mill rate a lot. Right now, the mill rate is 40.4.
Okay.
That's going to come down. I don't know what, but it'll probably be in the 27 area. But it'll be a lot. I don't know the numbers. But I don't want people to think that, oh my God, I'm going to get an 80% increase. You're not. There will, for most people, be an increase, but it's nothing of that magnitude.
Okay.
So
just to keep it in simple terms, I have a question. Let's say, for example, I live in Stratford, and I bought my house 40 years ago for $100,000. Now the same house is worth $300,000.
right.
Okay. So that's where that actually did just happen to me, except I live in West Haven. So I'm having to pay more.
Right.
And, my house is worth more. But to me, I'm a senior. I'm going to be on a fixed income soon.
Right.
And the only thing that keeps going up is, that, unfortunately. So what do you have to say to folks like that? About something like that, just in, so that we understand it.
Sure.
We're, putting numbers to numbers.
Right. So a couple of things. Number one, if you are on fixed income and making less than a certain percentage of, there are protections that we're putting in place to mitigate the increase.
Great.
And we're actually looking at 3 different plans right now. What we have in place now was okay, but it's not good enough. And so we're looking at enhancing that. We're looking at 3 different approaches. I don't have the details of what they are, but it matters a lot.
Right.
And that's for disabled, it's for seniors, and it's for veterans. So we are looking to shore up that safety net.
And things like that, are greatly, greatly appreciated by the seniors, that you understand it and that you're trying to do something about it, and that there are, protections if you're under a certain threshold, if you're on a fixed income or disabled or what have you. That is excellent. Okay, so what will the process look like from here on out? When should residents be prepared to take any action such as pay their property tax bill? January 1st, I can tell you that.
So the for the new assessment, they'll be getting bills in the mail. I think it's the very, very first week of July.
Okay.
And then they have 30 days to pay. And it's here in town. It's broken up into 2 parts. You can pay all at once, or you can pay in 6 month increments. And so July is when they're going to get the bill. This week they're getting a final assessment notice, and then there's an appeal process.
Okay.
And they can then appeal it and go before a group of peers, and there's an appeal process.
Have it reassessed. Okay.
Right. So and that'll be going on for the next month or so, and then after that, it is what it is.
Right.
Right.
So basically, if you own your home outright, you can pay it biannually.
Yes.
And it would be July and January, kind of like your car taxes.
Exactly. All right.
But if you're still paying a mortgage, then you pay it through your escrow, through your mortgage. So those folks don't need to worry about that. Their mortgage company will pretty much handle it. Great.
Correct. You got
Great.
it.
Okay. So I know you have a vision in broadening the town's economic base to lessen the tax burden on residential property owners. Okay. Can you tell us what you're doing now in the short term to lessen that burden and what your plans are in the long term to increase the overall tax base?
Right.
Maybe
So
just-
anyone who tells you that they're just going to go lower taxes is telling you a story. So the only way to lower taxes is to increase your tax base. And you don't increase your tax base overnight. That's an investment. You have to have a vision, and you have to execute on that vision to do it. That's really a minimal 3 to 10-year approach. And so so first of all, in this budget, we are looking at every single line item in our budget. We have cut positions that used to exist that won't exist going forward. We've done a lot of sharpening the pencil to get our costs down as much as possible. So that's what we can do now. But you can never cut your way out of a situation like that. All you can do is make it a little bit better. The only way to get out of high taxes is to grow your tax base, and that's the only way out.
Okay.
And people say, "Oh, we pay too much to our schools." Schools are an investment.
Yes.
You
I
don't
agree.
get people wanting to come to. So I've been meeting with corporations and trying to talk to them. I have a vision for creating a high-tech manufacturing corridor along Lordship Boulevard. But to do that, you need to have schools that are attractive. We have a long ways to go, and we're working closely with the superintendent, with Heather Borges and her team. They're great educators, and we have a path. We're going to get the school system that we need to be able to attract the type of businesses that we want, and with that housing that we need. It doesn't everything. It's a puzzle.
Yeah.
It has lots of pieces to it.
Yeah.
And
That's
so,
correct.
So each of these pieces we're working on.
Yeah, the first thing when a family moves into a neighborhood, the first thing they want to know about how are the schools. If they have children, that's number one. And it's just imperative that we invest in our children because they are our future.
They're everything.
You know,
right?
they absolutely are.
You know,
Okay.
the other thing I want to highlight is the Army Engine Plant. So
Okay.
the Army Engine Plant is 77 acres of waterfront property here in Stratford.
Okay.
There's no large parcel like that available anywhere in Fairfield County. And it had been earmarked to have 3 warehouses. We've been working with DEEP and the other EPA and the other folks involved with oversight, and are moving it from a commercial base to a residential. And with that, we're going to be able to do mixed-use development. And so we're going along this track now. This is in process, and that will change the face of the town in terms of us becoming a destination. Imagine having a hotel, a conference center, having a Globe Theater, a performance center, having our own Chelsea Pier type of athletic facility, and having housing on the water with views that are unbelievable. That's what we're aiming for, and that the type of income we'll see from that is incredible.
Yes.
That will take us from having a high tax rate to having a much lower tax rate. But that's the only way you get there. But that's a 5 to 10 year
That's
vision.
long term. Yeah.
Right.
That's not something that's going to happen overnight. Okay. So as you mentioned, you're committed to increasing Stratford's commercial base through various economic developments. Okay, you like to build infrastructure and alternative sources of income so that resident homes and cars aren't primary source of town's income outside of state funding. I've heard that some of these projects include housing, and you just talked about that, the Army engine plant,
Right.
and many other development projects. Do you want to expand on those projects and tell listeners your vision, what you're working on, and how you're going to increase tax revenue and benefit them in the long run?
So, again, looking in terms of thinking in terms of wanting people to come to your town, get out of their cars, walk, buy products here, right? So if you look at our downtown, we really don't have one. We have parts of things all over, but we don't have a downtown. I'd love to see if we can transform Paradise Green into more of a downtown, make it look a lot more like Milford's Green. And so we're working with the Connecticut Municipal Authority to evaluate that now.
Okay.
We're working on transit-oriented district development, trying to looking to where we can build along our train lines and build housing there. And each unit of housing that we build is good for approximately $1,000 a year of revenue.
Okay.
So you're putting up 100 units, you have $1 million.
Wow, that's okay. That's awesome. And you got to have, like you said, you got to have something to attract people.
Right.
If you don't have a downtown, that's, where do people go?
Right.
And
Exactly.
whenever anyone comes, like tourists go to a new town, they want to go downtown or to the mall,
Right.
and everybody shops. As a matter of fact, as soon as I'm done with this, I'm going shopping. Okay, so for the people listening who may be learning about you for the first time, or who may not have voted for you, shame on them. What do you want them to know about your leadership approach to government?
So I'm really here for everyone. My doors are open. Every day is a learning day for me. There's no arrogance. I don't know it all. I don't know anything. I'm always learning, and that's the attitude I approach it with. But I also approach it with hope and a deep belief that Stratford is an incredible place, has incredible people, has incredible potential, and my job every day is to work the fields, is to get the seeds planted and to watch us become who we can be.
And to work for everyone. I would be interested to know why did they vote for the other person? Because normally when you have two politicians, you align your policies with something, of theirs. So what was their reason for not voting for you? That would interest me if I was a politician. And maybe it's something that you can build on because you work for everybody,
Yeah.
especially the ones that you didn't win over, so that you could win them over. Next time, say, listen, you voted for him because he's whatever. I do that too. I think that's a great, place to start. Why didn't you vote? What do you need? What can I give you? How can I help you?
So,
Not that you have to give them everything, just,
no,
just find
but-
out.
but I think a lot of people were voting really for status quo, that they felt that they were doing okay and that the current leadership had been doing fine.
Okay.
I get that. That's great. But what people who did vote for me saw was a vision of who he could be. It was a very inclusive vision. Was a people who saw all the things we were leaving behind kids with our schools,
yeah.
leaving behind communities, and they wanted to do more, and they believed that I can do it. They had that confidence, and so I think that in my short 2 months, I've been showing the community that I'm real. I'm just not words. I'm deeds, and that we're
Awesome.
walking the walk. And over time, whether people vote for me or don't vote for me, my job is to do what I believe is the right thing to do every single day.
For everybody.
And that's it.
And to show the ones that didn't vote for you just what they're missing.
Well, but they're not missing anything. I'm
Well,
here for
they
them.
thought everything was fine. You're going to give them
That's
something
true.
different, right?
That's true. That's true.
That's the idea.
Yep, you're right.
Okay. All right. So,
Well,
anything else you'd like to leave our audience with?
my thanks to you.
Well-
I really appreciate you letting me here on your show and letting me talk about my vision for Stratford. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. And I think everybody needs to know what your visions are for the town of Stratford since you're newly elected. I want to congratulate you and thank you again for coming on Vanita's podcast. It's always a pleasure. Happy Black History Month to everyone out there. And that's our show for today. Have a great day.